Welcome everyone back to Anchors Away. We are back here posting on, I guess tomorrow is Friday. So today is Thursday. Thursday night football is happening. And some interesting things to talk about tonight, or I guess today, whenever you're watching this, but when we're recording it. But before we get into it, how are you doing? How are things going with everything back in Kentucky?
Yeah, actually good. It's gotten cold.
Yeah.
Just overnight, it's like, whoa, what happened?
That happened here too.
Freezing, waking up and there's frost on the cars and you have to defrost and it's like cold weather. I'm like, it's just too cold. But at least it's not raining, which is a good thing. So, when it's 40 degrees outside, you can still, get around a little bit. Luckily, it's supposed to warm up next week. So at least we still have one last nice week of hopefully fall here. But yeah, it's cold, man. It's just cold.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And the dogs, the puppies, not too thrilled with the cold either. So that's a whole nother story. So.
Yeah, no, I definitely can understand that. I mean, it's gotten very cold down here as well, and one night I didn't realize how cold it was, and I felt one of the cats and his fur was cold, and I was like, oh, we need to turn the heater on. So I definitely can understand that, and yeah, I'm not looking forward to it, but at least it's not raining, so I'll definitely take that.
Yeah.
And at least we don't have the crazy smoke levels that Seattle has right now. I don't know if you've seen some of those pictures, but they are pretty crazy as well with what they're putting up with over in Seattle right now, and hopefully everyone's okay over there.
Absolutely.
So let me talk about this real quick. There are a couple changes to the layout, and we do have a surprise at the end of the timer. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it on your end, but I know I'll be able to, and it's loud, and it's gonna probably startle me a couple times, but you'll have to go back and watch the VOD on this one because I messed around with it a little bit yesterday, and it's pretty cool. So it'll be a fun little change. But let's get into this here. First quarter. Let me get the timer going. We got our 5 minutes on the clock, and as soon as it shows up on screen, we will get going. So let's talk about the Mariners. The first thing though, Cal Raleigh nominated for a Gold Glove, which really cool to see for him. I think he definitely deserves it. Definitely one of the better defensive catchers in the American League for sure. But definitely cool to see for him. Would have been nice to see Julio maybe get a nod there as well in center, but I think center field's pretty contested in the league. But definitely cool for Cal, and just shows like his hard work is being recognized on a national level. But last episode we were talking about free agency with the Mariners, what they need to do. And we got a comment on our last video, so thank you for commenting about what Seattle needs to do. They were less concerned about the outfield and really concerned about second and short. And one of their recommendations was moving JP over to second base and getting a shortstop. Now, my question was, do you think JP would be willing to move to second? And I don't know.
I don't know, especially after he signed the extension knowing that he was the shortstop.
Yep, that's kind of how I felt too.
So I mean, if there is the uber shortstop that would the heaven and earth would open up for, you probably could get JP to move over, but it's got to be somebody that drastic, star-studded to really make him see if he'd move over.
Yeah,
I don't see it happening right away.
No, I mean I don't either, but it did at least make me think about it, and I do kind of want to talk about it. So hypothetical, JP Crawford, like he's all in, decides, you know what, Adam Frazier wasn't the guy here. Let me move to second. Let's go get one of the top three shortstops.
Sure.
The top three in free agent or expected to be in free agency is Trey Turner, Xander Bogaerts, and Dansby Swanson. And just kind of going over ages, they're all right about 30. Dansby is going to be 29 here really soon. Trey's going to be 30 pretty soon as well. Trey and Xander are projected to make 33 and 31, whereas Dansby is 24. Do any three of those names stick out to you where, okay, maybe we do try and shoot for one of them?
Maybe Dansby, just because I think he would fall in line with the current core age group wise.
Okay.
I think they're looking at long term at this
Yeah.
point. I don't think they're looking for a 2-year, 3-year deal. If they're going to get a position player, I think they're going to look for the longer term. So
Hmm.
I think age is going to be a big player in this. And Dansby Swanson, definitely, I would not be a verge to it. Seeing him when he played against the Mariners here, it looked pretty good. So I wouldn't be too heartbroken over him. But again, I don't know if the Mariners really want to go in for the 30-year-old player right now and try to put him in for a five-year deal or something like that if they don't have to.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely fair. I mean, I kind of look at this three, I guess, and if Xander Bogaerts does decline his option, which I think he will, he's really not expect to make as much as what he could make in the open market. I think you're kind of looking really at Dansby and Trey, and I mean the $10 million difference is pretty big in my opinion. The one thing that I am surprised, I'm going to assume Atlanta's going to re-sign him. Especially with them already having Austin Riley locked, Acuna, Ozzie Albies next couple of years, Matt. Why am I blanking on his name? The first baseman from Oakland, Matt. Yeah, it was Matt Chapman and the other Matt, and now I just can't even think about it at all. Which kind of I think leaves you with Trey Turner. It's expected the Dodgers are not going to go after him; they are going all in on Aaron Judge. Right. At 29, would you be willing to pay? Would you pay $35 million for like 7 years at essentially 29?
At 35 a year?
Yeah.
No.
Not even think about it.
I would not pull the trigger on that deal. Nope. I would not do it.
That's fair.
I unless it's a contract that we can create like a Julio Rodriguez that's heavily incented.
Yeah. So I guess so the other question I have for you then is Aaron Judge at 30 is projected $37 million. Yeah. Now you did say you feel confident with that one.
Even at that I would probably balk.
Okay.
I would. I don't. Again, these guys are getting older, and I just don't see wrapping up that kind of money for somebody like that. Again, I don't have a good feeling, especially the track record of other players coming in. Again, Pujols is like one of those players.
Yeah.
Second half of his career, later age, didn't do much except hamstring the Angels.
Yep. Yeah.
I just don't, unless you have a surefire, guarantee, not even a guarantee, but something that you can go, yeah, I can hang my hands on this and it's going to work. Yeah, I just, I guess I'm just gotten, gun shy of those deals.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's, you can even look at the Cano deal that we signed for him, 10-year, $240, and that really kind of hurt us. It ended up working out because we were able to get rid of him and everything, but definitely kind of looking back probably wasn't as good of a move as some of us thought at the time. But I'm guessing you did not hear the new sound because I did, and it kind of just gave me a little startle. But let's restart the timer here, going over to the second quarter now. The Kraken. Let's talk about them a little bit. Because hockey's in full swing now. I've really been enjoying watching kind of just all the teams play. Unfortunately, they did lose to St. Louis in overtime, which, to be honest, I didn't think they'd even get to a tie. So the fact they picked up a point was
amazing.
Yeah. But kind of the interesting thing I would like to discuss is Shane Wright. Yeah. And what are the Kraken doing with him?
Yeah, it's I don't know is this their 10 game kind of thing?
They have 9 games, I think.
Yeah.
Where they can send him back.
Yeah. I was wondering if that was kind of what they were looking at to see. And they're he isn't playing much. I'm almost thinking they might send him back.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the 3 games he has played, the most ice time he had was 6 minutes and 50 seconds. But I guess my counter, I don't know if it's necessarily a counter, but a follow-up is you have your 9 or 10 games, whatever it is, before you have to make your mind up and send him back down. Why not let him play and see what you got with him?
Exactly. You might as well. But yeah, I thought it was kind of weird with 6 minutes is not enough to really see. But
No.
maybe that was just enough to see. Okay, how is he going to translate? And maybe they now know enough. It wouldn't surprise me if they send him down though to get more ice time.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to pick up skills or anything with only getting 6 minutes of ice time.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, you can't get into a flow of a game. You're not seeing enough on the ice to be able to pick up on certain like quirks or moves that teams are doing. But do you think it's worth? I mean, it feels a little bit like Jared Kelnick a little bit.
Just a little bit.
And we've kind of seen this with Wright already in the lower leagues. Like he tears it up. He's an NHL player when you compare him to the lower level players, like in the American Hockey League and things like that. I mean, it's great to have the ice time and consistent playing, but do you think it's really worth it for him to play at a lower level and when he's just kind of doing his thing? Whereas like with Kelnick, we see him tear up the minors and then it hasn't translated to the majors.
But I think now with having the Coachella team,
Yeah.
that is now basically the Kraken's team.
Yeah, it's like Tacoma.
The Charlotte team. They can at least start getting players into the flow of what they need to have them do, under the coaching philosophy. So maybe they now know what Shane has to work on.
Yeah.
Let's send them down and say, okay, these are the things you're great on this stuff, but these are the things we want you to solidify this year.
Yeah.
So that when you do play a full NHL season, you're ready for it.
Yeah.
That and to your point, what he was playing with last year are not NHL players.
Yeah.
And I get that. But again, not knowing what he was in for, and he's young. I mean, he's what, 19?
Yeah, he's not old at all.
So I think he needs the ice time. I think now that he's been exposed to it, is a lot, is worthwhile.
Yeah.
Rainiers, Miami had the advantage of going back to the
college, Michigan. Yeah.
And then coming back for 10 games to see what the NHL was like, and then he had the full off season to get prepared for it.
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
So that's kind of how I would approach Shane at this point. He now knows what he's in for.
Yeah, at least he's seen it. Yeah.
And it's not a demotion at all. It's like, okay, now that we know what you're able to do and we see where we need to get you to, let's do that. So then when we introduce you, you have just as good a chance to get the Calder Trophy after Rainiers gets it.
Yeah. I guess
just my take.
No, it actually does make sense because when you think about it that way, like instead of using Benier's first 10 at the beginning of the year, they let him go play at Michigan, do his thing there, get a full year of ice time essentially, and then give him the 10 games. So no, it definitely does make sense. I think to your point, it's like let him play his 10 games here, see what you got, send him down because I mean they're not going to be in a playoff. Like, just no, it makes a lot of sense when you put it that way.
Yeah, it's just a thought. It's just a one way to look at it.
Yeah.
I could see them keeping him too, and trying to build up the ice time, but I don't know.
Yeah. In the final 10 seconds, how long till Haxtell's fired?
Ooh, not this year. He's got a full year.
All right, we'll see. We'll see. All right, let's jump over to the third quarter.
Did you get scared yet?
No, I knew that one was coming. I saw that. Restart the timer, and over to the third quarter we go. All right, Tariq Woolen. What a guy, winning NFC Defensive Player of the Week with 5 tackles, 1 interception, and another fumble recovery. I feel like we have to spend some time talking about him. He was picked 1 pick right before Richard Sherman was in his draft at 153 compared to Sherman's 154. Is he the steal of the draft and potential rookie of the year as of today?
I would have to say yes.
Yeah.
Definitely the steal of the draft.
Yeah.
Definitely a steal. They didn't overreach at 5, obviously.
No.
And I'm sure there were some teams looking at him going, no, overstretched, overreached at 5, because he wasn't thought of that highly. Being a converted receiver, not that many years of being a defensive back. but it's the Richard Sherman story. and,
Yeah.
and he's the prototypical cornerback that Pete Carroll loves.
Yep.
Size.
6'4", speed. Yep.
Well, and he got somebody with the speed too. Not
Yeah.
only the size, but the speed. I mean, and obviously they knew what to work with him on. He knows his kick step, and the rest is history. I mean, the guy is just blowing it out the door. I'm like, geez, he's outplaying Sauce Gardner. So,
Oh yeah, I think he's the top-rated rookie cornerback right now in the
got to
league.
be,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. He's got to be. He's got to be Rookie of the Year favorite right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only, and honestly, I haven't paid too much attention to like Trayvon Walker or Aiden Hutchinson, but
Right,
I think the only other one might be Thibodeau with New York.
Right.
And honestly, right now, I think Tariq's done much more to impact his team. Besides,
Well, if he keeps just getting interception after
if he ends up with like
game,
8 interceptions, I think you have to give it to him.
I think you have to. Yeah.
I mean, I'm actually kind of curious now. Do you know the rookie record for interceptions?
Gosh, that's a great question. That is a great question. And of course,
he's not going to break this.
He started out slow, but Kobe Bryant,
He had another forced fumble. I think he has four
four
forced fumbles. Yeah.
he had 4 forced fumbles. Who leads the league as well?
Yeah. So real quick, the record is 14 interceptions as a rookie.
Okay, who has that?
Night Train Lane.
Oh, wow, Night Train. Okay.
In 1952.
52.
Yeah.
Holy cow, that's like a 70-year record.
Yeah.
Okay, Tariq, you got some work cut out for you, but
I mean, if he, like you said, if he stays on, I think he would have. If he gets one every game, he'd beat it, which I think is a lot. It's a lot to ask for, but
there's no pressure. Come on, Tariq, you can do it.
Yeah, 14. It's not as you're already a quarter of the way there. You're fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, Kobe Bryant also, and then Mike Jackson. I don't think he's the best coverage guy, but he's also done a great job forcing fumbles and kind of doing his thing. Which I honestly kind of feel bad for Sidney Jones a little bit. Just being a UW guy and trading for him a year or two ago, and he just kind of I think he got the concussion, and then all of a sudden these two like essentially rookies come in and just, because I don't count Mike Jackson as a veteran. He never played, like he's a rookie in my book.
Yeah.
Just kind of took over and did their thing, and now he'll probably be out the door here in a week or two.
Right.
But since we are talking about cornerbacks, the Hawks are going to play one of the best in the league in Justin Herbert. What are you looking for or expecting here when we go to LA?
Ooh, yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens in this, game here with going back, taking a look at the last Chargers game
against Denver, or like against
Denver.
Yeah.
The high scoring affair.
Oh, so many points between LA and Denver. What a great Monday night game.
Yeah, that was just ecstatic.
Yeah.
But there was one touchdown out of the whole game?
Pretty much. Each team had one.
I think so. Yeah, it was just so, from that kind of aspect of it, I don't know what type of game to expect out of LA.
Yeah. And it's not like Herbert had a bad game. He didn't.
No.
It wasn't like to his standard.
Right.
But I mean, he's still 238 for 37 completions. Like, that's not bad.
No. So if Seattle's defense can show up like it did from this last game, at least they finally showed up.
Yeah.
It could be a low scoring affair, as weird as that's going to sound.
Yeah.
I would have thought at the beginning of the season this would have been a nice little, game in the 30s for each team. Now I don't know if they're going to get out of the 20s.
Yeah, I mean, just also kind of looking back, and our horn did go off, so we'll wrap this up here in a minute. But I'm just looking at the Chargers scores here before this one: 24, 24, 10 when they got beat down by Jacksonville, 34, 30, 19. So it is like they're kind of all over the place.
They're all over the map. Yeah.
So yeah, maybe it's not as bad as some people may think it's going to be. And I know the national media has LA winning across the board, but
yeah, because it's in LA.
Yeah, it's at SoFi.
But there'll probably be more Seahawks fans there anyway.
Oh, LA's a terrible fan base for either team.
They don't have. Yeah, they don't.
No. All right, and on that note, while all the LA fans will yell at us now, let's switch it over to the fourth quarter. Let's start the timer, and let's get this one finished up. So, fourth quarter, let's talk a little bit of minor league baseball with the Seattle Mariners group. Starting off with the Tacoma Rainiers, ended the year at 72 and 78, did not make the playoffs.
Not even only the top two teams go to the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, they were second in the division. However, they were like 14 games back.
Yeah.
Just kind of looking at stats, and I know stats don't really tell the full story. I definitely understand that.
Yeah.
But I'm not too impressed with anybody. I think AAA was kind of like the Reds team this year. A lot of their big prospects are down in the lower AA and below.
Like the Mariners.
Yeah. Which is kind of what it felt like when I'm just going through Tacoma's, stats here. I mean, was there anyone really at Tacoma that, pops out at you?
Kind of towards the end there, Kyle Lewis was starting to come on a little bit.
That's fair.
Of course, you could say the same thing about Jared Kelenic.
Yeah.
They were both hitting, at least one hit a game. I think Jared was at 21 out of 23. I think Lewis at one point was 17 out of 19 games. So Kyle Lewis seems to be kind of the one guy that I'm kind of watching down there. Pitching wise, nobody just jumped off the board at me because it seems like all of our pitching is at AA right now.
Yeah, they're either below or at the majors, it seemed like.
Yeah. So, to say anybody jumped off the plate, maybe, Cade Marlowe for the little bit of time he was at AAA.
Yeah.
Might have been something, but other than that, it seemed like everybody else was, it seems like the AAA is kind of the holding spot for maybe a quick call up or something like that has some major league experience, but it's almost like, it's weird to say, but it's almost like a rehab center.
It really is. Yeah.
It's like an old folks home almost. It's like, okay, you're kind of good, but we're just going to use you for a rehab assignment down here or whatever.
And it kind of feels like that around the league too. It's not like it was, at least I feel like when I was growing up watching, it's like all your top guys were at AAA. And now it feels like a lot of them will just make this jump from like AA up. And AAA is like your kind of older veterans that are trying to find a place to play for a little bit longer. Or you got the guys that are going back and forth, like Toro's been down and up, Kelenic up and down, Kyle Lewis up and down. I mean, just kind of looking here at the top 30 of the Mariners, 3 are at Modesto and 2 are at Arkansas. So, and I mean, it's not like these guys are far away. I mean, they have Bryce Miller at 2023. He's in Arkansas. Emerson Hancock at 23. He's in Arkansas. So it is interesting.
But they're set up well for the future. Pitching, which is awesome.
They have a lot of pitching. I mean, in your top 10, Emerson Hancock, Bryce Miller, Walter Ford, Taylor Dollard, Adam Macko. I mean, out of your top 10, there's 5. So definitely
that can start.
Yeah. And they're all and this is almost a good problem to have, but they're all estimated at like 2024 and earlier. So kind of interesting there. I do want to talk a little bit about Harry Ford though. He is projected at 2025. And with Cal, I feel like I'm feeling pretty good at catcher right now, especially if Cal can maybe get the average a little bit higher. But at 25 home runs and already nominated for a Gold Glove, do you think they do anything with Ford now, or just leave him catching and just see what happens with him?
I think a lot of it will be predicated on how Tom Murphy comes back.
Yep. You almost forget about him now.
Right, because he's been injured all year and we haven't heard from him. However, the reason why I bring him up is they had him travel with the team during the playoffs.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, he was he was in Toronto and he was also in Houston. So I think that was a way for Scott to get him reacclimated with the team.
Okay.
In anticipation of 2023 a little bit, because he told him to, be barking at the players and the clubhouse and stuff while he's in the dugout, and he was.
Yeah.
So he was a full participant on the side, out of the dugout. But I think it really depends on how Tom Murphy comes back. If he can come back from his injuries and be that part-time catcher, Cal will be the workhorse. But then if we could have Tom spell him a lot more than like what we had, I think you can afford to leave Harry down there a little bit longer, get some more at bats, and not have to do kind of the Mike Zunino.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too.
Yeah, I think you were going to go there, but I'm sure the horn went off. So
it did. But it did feel like even when we drafted him, we were up in the Seattle area, and it is like you got excited because he was up, but was like, did we rush him too fast? And I think we definitely did, because at Tampa, then that's when he really found his stride.
That's when he found his niche.
Yeah. So definitely, I think that's a good point. And we'll definitely see what happens with him. Excited to see Hancock next year at the majors. I think he'll be the number 5. Goodbye, Marco. But then we're really righty heavy, so I don't know, maybe not. But we'll definitely.
Or who knows? Maybe Taylor Dollard jumps. I mean, the guy went 16-2. So
that's can't be mad about that.
You can't be mad about any of the pitching right now.
No, definitely a lot of bright spots for the pitching coming up, and there's that Cole Young also. He's coming up too. As soon as Crawford's contract's up, he'll be ready. So lots of exciting things. The Mariners look like they've set themselves up for success in the future, not just now.
Ongoing.
And thank goodness DePoto is still with the team. And we'll see Service probably win Manager of the Year this year. So lots of good with the Mariners. Unfortunate way to end, but a lot to look forward to, and especially with the winter meetings. I know we're not even at the World Series, but at this point, I'm done with the Yankees and Astros. I'm not really caring about the Phillies and the Padres. Let's just move on. But
move on.
With that said, everybody, thank you all for watching. Go ahead, subscribe, like, and comment, and we will see you next week when we have another episode of Anchors Away.
Have a good one.